WBSM presents The Tim Weisberg Show, streaming live on WBSM.com and the WBSM app. Call 508-996-0500. Send us app chat messages and open line voicemails using the WBSM app. Now, The Tim Weisberg Show.
Good morning. Happy Monday to you. Welcome into another week here on the program. Happy Monday. Hope it's starting off well. Hope you had a good weekend. It is a little cool and breezy out there. When is this wind going to go away? Every time I'm trying to go out to the car, my hat blows off. Every time I'm trying to carry stuff in, blows out of my hands. What's going on? Come on. I thought March was supposed to be windy at the beginning of the month, not at the end. But I guess it's still better than what they got up north this past weekend. I saw friends who were dealing with a couple of feet of snow in different places. So wouldn't want to be them. Although I guess if you have a problem with your basement flooding, this probably has not been a great time for you, nor will it be for the next couple of days, as more rain is expected to come in. But the good part is we had a decent day yesterday, right? I don't know. I spent most of the day yesterday in the movie theater. I did something that I don't do often, but I figured, what the heck? I had some time. There were two movies that I wanted to see. I have the AMC A-List subscription. So I saw two movies back to back. And all I kept thinking was, how did you people do this when you were younger? Those of you who remember the days of going on a Saturday morning and spending a quarter or whatever it was to go to the theater and sitting there all day long, watching a couple of features, newsreels, cartoons. How did you sit in those seats for that long? Because here I am sitting in the big plush AMC recliner, and it was too much for me. How did you sit in those old-fashioned movie theater seats for an entire day? And I didn't stay straight through. I went and saw Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. Went to the 2:15 show of that. That's about a 2-hour movie. So, you know, with all the previews and everything, you're in there for 2.5 hours. Then I went and did a little shopping in the mall, had some dinner, went back at 6:30 and saw Immaculate. And I got to tell you, the second one, I probably could have waited for it to come on TV, waited for it to come on streaming. It was okay. It was a good movie. It's not a horror movie, even though it's how it's being marketed. But I was interested in seeing it, and it was one of those films where I thought people might ruin it for me, or I might read something accidentally about it. So I figured, let me just go see it. I'll still be home by 8:30. I can still do any work I got to do to get ready for Monday. And instead, no. I went home, sat in the chair, and just zonked out. Woke up about 11 and said, I better get into my bed. But it's been a long time since I've sat through a movie back to back like that. I think since I was in high school, when my cousin and I used to go to the movies all the time. For $1. Because of the whole Jimmy Fund fundraiser thing. They had a fish tank out in front of the movie theater at the Kingston Mall, collecting money for the Jimmy Fund. And if you could drop a quarter into the shot glass, you got a movie ticket. And my cousin, being the redneck engineer that he is, figured out that if you dropped 4 quarters at once right over the shot glass, at least one of them would drop into the shot glass. So we realized that we could go to the movies for $1 and quarters each. And sometimes if you got 2 quarters, then they would give you 2 tickets. So we would just go and spend the whole day in the movie theater. But I was a lot younger. My body could take more of a beating, I guess, than sitting in those old movie theater chairs. And I know that those were still more plush than the ones you were sitting in the 40s, 50s, 60s. But even today, big leather, comfy, oversized recliners. And I was feeling it by the end of that second movie. So anyway, I suppose you are wondering what I thought of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire since I gave the review of Immaculate. I liked it. I thought it was a good next step in the franchise, but I just thought there should have been more ghost busting. Too much backstory on the main villain. Too unnecessary side characters. And too much focus on their family dynamic, which I get it. That was, part of the story, but I could have sacrificed a couple of those scenes for a few more outings actually busting ghosts. It's almost like they said, well, we're going to have a whole bunch of special effects at the end, so let's use them sparingly throughout the rest of the movie. But I read a statement from one of the actors in the film that said that they made it more like a real Ghostbusters episode. And I think that's an accurate assessment. But I still enjoyed it. Is it worth going to see on the big screen? I think so. But that was my fun for the weekend. I did go out to dinner with a friend Friday night, but I was home by like 10 o'clock. But this is a week where we're going to have a lot to discuss. I don't think Jack Spillane is back yet. I think it's going to be one more week before he joins us as he is on vacation. But when he does get back, we're going to talk about his article at New Bedford Light, his column about these problem property landlords, which is still an issue, still something that no matter what the city has tried to do to combat it, there are these landlords that just don't care. They would rather pay the fines than make the repairs. We talked a little bit about this last week. I mean, there are some things that are not... I mean, ultimately, the buck always stops with the landlord, but there are some things where you say, hey, I've got just bad tenants. I've got people that live in my buildings that just don't have any sense of self-respect or pride in where they live. And I try to keep up with it, but as soon as I go in there and fix it, they trash it again. And I get it. That's going to be the case in some cases. But in many of these cases, the residents are asking for the landlord to step up, for the landlord to show up, for the landlord to make those repairs because they do want to take pride in where they live. But they can't afford to go out and redo a ceiling or replace a broken door or all these other things that could be done, fix busted windows. Nor should they have to. And I think a lot of landlords take it from the approach of, well, if you fix it and then just send me the receipt and we'll take it off the rent. No, that doesn't get things done when people are living paycheck to paycheck and just scraping enough money together to pay the rent. And also probably don't have the know-how to repair things themselves. I went through that with my landlord where he would always tell me, if you can fix it, fix it. You don't have to wait for me if it's something that you think that you can do. But if there's a chance that you might not know how to do it and cause more damage, then by all means, please call me first. But we had like a basic understanding that if something happened and I could fix it, go to Home Depot, get what I needed to fix it, and then just send him the receipt and take that off the rent. You know, for the first few years I lived there, out of the 17 years or 15 years, whatever, no, 17 years. For the first few years, I would call first and say, well, I'm going to do this. And he would just remind me, you don't have to call me every time unless it's something that is going to be a significant cost or that you need help with. If you want to replace the thermostats with something a little bit more fancier, just do it. I'm trying to think of what else I did without, some of the parts on the hot water heater. In the heat itself, the forced hot water heat. You know, dumb little parts that cost $100, but that I could easily swap out myself. But a lot of the people renting apartments in New Bedford in some of these tenements, they don't know how to do any of those things, and nor should they have to. So there's, yes, some cases where I would have to say these landlords might be up against something. But for the most part, and the city knows this, the city knows which ones are the problems. The city knows which ones are responsible for it. It's up to them. And I'm sure those residents are asking the city, hey, what you've got to do something about this. Because we do want to take pride in where we live, but it's hard to do that when the landlord doesn't keep track with anything, doesn't keep up with anything. 508-996-0500. You can also send app chat messages and open line voicemails on the WBSM app. But anyway, we'll talk about that more in depth with Jack Spillane when he's back, I believe, next week. And I want to thank everybody that came out and made a donation Saturday morning for our Spring Hunger Heroes food drive. The weather was not great, but we were able to get around it a little bit by setting up by the front door of Aldi. The tents all tied together. We had one incident where the tent really picked up, and I was holding on to the end of it. And this thing just went up in the air, and I started to go too. And I said, oh, right, I don't weigh as much as I used to weigh. I'm not as much of an anchor for this thing as I think I am. But it was fine. Gazelle over at Fun 107 did a fantastic job of tying together tents and weighing them down as best he could and finding ways to block them from blowing up. And then we just used some ingenuity. But all the folks that came by and dropped stuff off were so generous with all their donations. It's going to go toward feeding a lot of kids during school vacation week. So all that food that you donated, whether it was Saturday coming to drop it off or purchasing at Aldi, or whether you've ordered it on Amazon and it'll be shipped to the United Way, all of that food is going to be taken in 2 weeks on April 6th and packaged together in backpacks by the United Way and its volunteers. And then those backpacks will be distributed in the schools to the kids that need them. And this, you know, we do the Hunger Heroes twice a year. We do it in the spring for the school kids. And then we do it again in November for Thanksgiving meals. And then in the summertime, we'll do the mobile markets where we pass out fresh fruits and vegetables. But out of all of them, I think I like watching everything happen with the spring one the best because, again, this is helping kids directly, but also the kids who are the volunteers, they get more excited about helping other kids. So as they're sorting everything, and they do a great job, those kids, because not only are they sorting everything into the buckets, they've got to check the dates, because sometimes people just grab stuff out of the cabinet and they're not checking the dates and being like, oh, I didn't realize that was expired. So, and then sometimes people do they're like, I'll just give them the expired food. But the kids that are there volunteering sort through all that. And as they're doing that, I'm hearing them have the conversations like, oh, these are great. Oh, they're going to love these. And so they're actually getting excited about being able to supply that food for kids that could be their classmates. So I don't know, it just feels a little bit more special watching this one happen. And of course, thanks to Aldi. Thanks to all of the great sponsors. But most of all, thanks to all of you who donated and spend a few moments coming over and talking with us and telling us how much you love WBSM. We love you too. All right, 508-996-0500. I'm going to take a break here. We'll be back in a few moments. Stay tuned.
I need your arms around me. I need to feel your touch. I need your understanding. I need your love so much. You tell me that you love me so. You tell me that you care. But when I need you, baby, you're never there. On the phone, long distance, always through such strong resistance. First you say you're too busy. I wonder if you even miss me. Never there. You're never there. You're never, ever, ever, ever there.
And you know, when that song starts with that little phone dial tone at the beginning, the little phone hum there, I'm sure when people hear that, they're like, oh, Tim left the phone on. Oh, Tim put the phone on over the radio. But no, that's part of the song. However, the computer chiming was not part of the song. That's just because the stupid computer I play the music off of is constantly looking to do updates, and nobody ever updates it. So it has to remind us a million times a day, but only when we're actually trying to use it to play music for you. So apologies for that noise. I try to limit those kind of mistakes, but hey, they're going to sneak through every once in a while. And you know what? If I hadn't said anything, you might not have even noticed. So, okay. Well, I know the song said you're never there, but I know you're always there. You're always listening, and you're always calling in at 508-996-0500. But if you can't, you can send those app chat messages and those open line voicemails, and we can read those or play those here on the program. A great way to be able to interact with us if you can't call in. And it's all brought to you by our friends at South Coast Towing. They are the ones who make the WBSM app possible. So you got to thank them for all of that. All right. It is now time to go into the newsroom and get all of the headlines of the day, all the national and international headlines with Phil Devitt.
Trump's deadline to pay bond is hours away. 2 employee deaths on a cruise ship, and national parks are being sued for going cashless.
From the WBSM Newsroom, this is WBSM News.
The deadline is drawing near for Donald Trump to pay the nearly $500 million bond in his New York civil fraud judgment. Reports indicate Trump's legal team is working hard at the last minute to secure a bond ahead of today's deadline. The judgment is from a ruling made in February by a judge who found Trump and his company liable for fraud. Conservatives are not happy with a $1 trillion spending package just signed into law by the president. During an interview on CNN's State of the Union, Texas Republican Chip Roy called the bill a total failure for Republican leaders. He said House Speaker Mike Johnson made a mistake by backing the legislation. This as Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene filed a motion to remove Johnson as Speaker. New York City Mayor Eric Adams called off his trip to the U.S.-Mexico border over safety concerns. Adams was due to leave Saturday to visit the border in Texas to meet with humanitarian leaders, with a spokesperson for New York City saying safety concerns at one of the cities are the reason for the pause. Officials say 2 crew members on a Holland America cruise ship died on Friday. A spokesperson for the cruise line says the 2 died after an incident in engineering space. The ship, which departed from Fort Lauderdale in Florida, was at Half Moon Cay in the Bahamas. The National Park Service is being sued for not accepting cash payments at parks across the United States. 3 people filed a lawsuit earlier this month, claiming the Park Service is breaking federal law by not accepting cash for entry to various monuments, parks, and historic sites. The trio filed a lawsuit after their cash payments were rejected at locations in Arizona, Georgia, and New York.
WBSM Sports, brought to you by Sparks Auto in Dartmouth.
The Boston Celtics on the road tonight to play the Atlanta Hawks, 7:30. Just a few more spring training games for the Red Sox. They play the Texas Rangers tonight at 8, and the Bruins head to Florida to play the Panthers on Tuesday.
Now, your ABC6 South Coast forecast.
Good Monday morning, everybody. Yes, it is spring. Dry conditions, however, starting out this Monday morning with wind chills around 20. Northeasterly breeze gusting up to 30 miles per hour. A little bit of cloud cover, turning mostly sunny this afternoon. Still breezy, gusty. 42, bundle up, it'll feel cold. Mostly cloudy tonight, tomorrow. Chance of rain develops. Be sure to watch ABC6 for my full 7-day forecast. From the ABC6 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Ceci Del Carmen on New Bedford's News Talk Station, 1420 WBSM.
I'm Phil Devitt for WBSM News. Stay up to date with New Bedford's News Talk Station, WBSM. And get all of our content and breaking news alerts with the WBSM app.
Deliver me in a black winged bird. I think of flying down and you'll see your pins and feathers and all of the instruments of faith and sex and God in the belly of a black winged bird. So try to feed me, 'cause I've been here before and I deserve a little more.
Well, you might be the rain king or queen by the end of this week, because that's what we're looking at. So today, obviously right now it's 37 degrees. It's windy, but it's not terrible out there. And today's not going to be too bad. 45 with clouds. But then the rest of the week, we're looking at rain. Tuesday, 43 and afternoon showers. Wednesday, cloudy with some late day rain. 56 though. Thursday, 54, rain. Friday, 49, rain. So it's going to basically rain from tomorrow through Friday. But then next weekend, you're going to have a nice spring-like weekend to end March. 53 degrees and partly cloudy on Saturday. 52 degrees and partly cloudy on Easter Sunday. And Easter's one of those days that's always, you never know exactly what you're going to get. Of course, because Easter's date is different each year, but you never know what you're going to get on Easter. Some days, some Easters, it's, cold and windy and rainy. Other Easters, it's a beautiful day where you're outside without a jacket on. And this looks like one of those ones where you can be outside, but maybe you'll have a sweatshirt on. That was a conversation that I overheard, by the way, at the Hunger Heroes food drop on Saturday morning. Is one of the moms that was there with her kids volunteering was talking about how, I can't get my daughter to wear a jacket. She'd rather wear 2 sweatshirts than wear a jacket. And that's the way it was with my son. Still is. And I don't get this generation. And I say this generation, it's the last few generations. I don't get the desire not to wear a jacket. I mean, they'll wear really heavy sweatshirts, but they don't want to wear a jacket. Not even you'll wear a pullover sweatshirt, but you don't want a pullover jacket. And I don't get it. I have a bunch of different jackets. I like jackets. Perhaps it's the fear of leaving it somewhere, which I've done many times. But it could also be the convenience of what you wear outside is also good enough to wear inside. But that's not always the case. And didn't they used to tell us when we were kids, don't wear your jacket inside because when you get outside, you'll be colder. I don't know if that's biologically true, but I still believe it. It's like that Bill Maher sketch. I don't know it for a fact. I just know it to be true. And I know that if I wear a jacket inside and then I go outside, I'm like, I shouldn't have worn this jacket inside. Anyway, 508-996-0500. Good morning. You're on WBSM.
Good morning, Mr. Weisberg.
How you doing?
Good. Are you ready for me?
Oh, I'm always ready.
Because it's coming. Okay. I'm not going to hold back, not even for you. And I like you a lot, Mr. Weisberg.
Okay.
I like you very much, but I'm sorry. I am who I am. Now, I was unaware from the beginning that Oprah Winfrey had made a video, and I heard you talk about it. So, of course, you know me. I went looking, and I found it. And that video is disgusting. That lady is devious. You know she's getting paid for everything she says. Don't say no, because she is. Look it up. She's got contract signed. She dropped Weight Watchers like a hot potato after all these years. She didn't mention nothing at all about what kind of foods to eat. Well, excuse me, no. She did say something about, give me my bagel. I want my bagel. Okay. She's still eating the same crap. The medicine, yes, it takes away your hunger, and it's wreaking havoc in your body, the natural system that you have. So if she ever gets sick from this, you're not going to hear it on the news because she's probably already signed everything that if she ever gets sick, she's not going to talk about it because she's getting big bucks for what she's doing. She had people on her show. She even had visitors from the Weight Watcher company where she was all involved in making billions of dollars. She dropped them because now with this new shot, she's going to be getting much more money, and she's all happy. She looks great. But the day is going to come because these shots contain drugs. We don't have any long-term studies.
They've been studying these drugs for 20 years, as they mentioned in that special.
And yes, and what do you think those doctors are saying about it? They're saying the things they want you to hear because they're getting paid to say it, Mr. Weisberg. They're getting paid. Now, listen, you said, I'll turn to you now. You said to me, yep, you're losing weight. Yep, you're looking great. You feel good. Everything's great. But you said to me when you start to lower that drug after or you get off of it, you're going to control. You haven't even begun to control anything yet. You're over at the crispy chicken all the time. You went to the movies. Did you have popcorn over there?
Oh, hold on. Don't tell me that I'm not controlling what I eat. I can eat what I want. I just eat it now in moderation.
You're still eating the wrong stuff. You think by eating it in moderation? There's a lot of people that eat the wrong stuff in moderation all their life, and they end up with the diabetes. They end up with pancreatic cancer. Listen. No, that's not holding out.
We can have a discussion, but you're not going to tell me what I can eat and what I can't eat.
I'm not telling you what to eat. I'm telling you that you're saying you can control it. you better start controlling it now. Because when you get off that medicine, that hunger is going to come raging back, Mr. Weisberg. There's people that have already been documented, and they have lawsuits against the company already.
All right,
But
Mary,
those lawsuits
this is where I have an issue with you, because you talk in absolutes as if you know everything that you're talking about, and you
I
actually know
study it
nothing
more
about
than
what
you are.
you don't study. You read a bunch of websites that tell you what you want to find out.
With
You don't
real
actually
doctors.
study. Are you a
With
doctor?
real doctors.
Where did you get your medical degree? The
Mr.
University
Weisberg,
of the
I
back
knew
of
you
a
were
Cracker
gonna
Jack
attack me.
box.
I knew that you were going to attack me, okay? I knew this.
Your doctors are
videos
telling you
that
to take medication that you refuse to take because you think you know more than them.
I found out about medicines. Look what happened to me. And I straightened it out myself. If I continued to do what the doctors wanted me to do, I'd be sick as a
Then you know
dog
what?
right
You
now.
keep taking care of yourself and stop worrying about my health.
So you're going to attack the messenger. That's what you're doing.
I'm going to attack the messenger when the messenger doesn't know what they're talking about.
I am trying to help you.
I don't want your help.
Because you haven't shown that you've changed anything. What's going to happen when you get off that medicine? Are you still going to go over there eating that chicken that's coated with
Yep.
flour and everything
Yep.
else? And how are
Yep.
they frying it? What
Yep.
kind of oil are they
Yup.
using?
Yup.
I understand you.
Yep.
I understand. Listen, it's better for me to cut back calling your show because it's no use. Just remember, I'm trying to help.
Yeah, and I don't want your help.
The people that are taking these shots are good, decent, loving people. They want to live. They want to survive. They need to get the weight off. So they're following this. But they're going to pay the Pied Piper someday, Mr. Weisberg. I'm telling you now. This is not normal. It is not natural. It's suppressing your hunger. It's
Sounds to
wrecking
me
the
like you're
inside
just
of your-
jealous that it's working for other people, but it wouldn't work for you.
Listen, I follow the doctors that care, not the doctors that I see over here at Font's Corner. I'm against them, and they know me now. And I'm getting ready to
No, I'm
stop
sure they
going
know
there.
you very well.
Mr. Weisberg, why are you so upset?
Because you called
Why?
in combative.
Because you won't listen to me. You made
I don't need to listen to you. You're not my doctor.
You said when you get off the shots, you're going to do your best to control it. But you need to start now by trying to control it.
You don't know anything about what my self-control is. You don't know
I know
anything
what
about
you
what
tell
I
me.
and what
I know what you-
and what I tell
I
you
know
isn't the whole
only-
truth.
I only know what you tell me.
Then don't make
You're
assumptions
telling-
about the rest of it.
Okay, and it's not just that, too. I know you love sandwiches, and every day you end your show. Enjoy every sandwich.
Do you know where that comes from? Do you know where the
No,
enjoy
he-
every sandwich comes from?
Where was it coming from?
It comes from Warren Zevon when he was dying of cancer and he was
Yeah.
on David Letterman's show. David Letterman
Yeah.
said to him, "Now that you're facing down death, do you have any advice about people about life?" And he said, "Yeah, enjoy every sandwich." It's a goodbye
Doesn't
saying
matter.
that means enjoy every moment, enjoy every little thing. That's
Yeah.
what enjoy every
But
sandwich means.
Sandwiches come with bread.
It's not a literal saying.
How do you eat a sandwich without bread? You can eat the inside fine. But every time you have a
All right.
sandwich,
This
aren't
is
you
this
eating
is
the
going
bread?
this is going nowhere, and I have other callers.
Listen, I don't have to call your show if you don't want to hear me, Mr. Weisberg.
Oh, you can call.
I
Let's
have
just
no
not
trouble.
let's just not talk about this.
I have no trouble. Why? Because I hit a raw nerve with you?
No, because you're telling me what to do
Because
as
I
if you
want
know
to
my
see you-
life
no,
better than
listen.
I do.
I want to see you succeed, but you need to make some changes, and you're not doing it. You're saying you're going to do it. All of a sudden, when them shots stop, are you all of a sudden not going to go to have that crispy chicken anymore because it's killing you? What are they frying it in? I'd like to know that. Are they using vegetable oil? I can guarantee you they are. You know why? That's the cheapest oil you can get.
All right.
And that's going to
I've got
kill
other callers here. We're going to move on.
Have a good day, Mr.
You as
Weisberg.
well.
Have a good day.
Take some of that high blood pressure medication there because I think you're getting up there with your numbers. Good morning. You're next on WBSM.
Oy vey. That was a long diatribe.
Moving
But
on.
I understand. I understand what Mary's trying to do. She's
I appreciate it. I just don't need it.
yes, right, exactly, and she's trying to change your mind over the radio, and it doesn't come across that very well. But she has a good heart. Her mind is set, and she's very very stubborn. But yeah, that's tough to swallow. Literally, because we're talking food. Talking about food, though, watch your chocolate prices. I saw actually on quite a few accounts that I follow cocoa prices have exploded higher. And as we're talking about Easter, everybody goes out and buys chocolate and stuff. And it is insane how expensive your chocolate is going to be within the next few months. And a lot of it has to do with droughts out on the west coast of Florida. One of your biggest chocolate exporters, I think it's, I can't even pronounce it. It's a country that's French. And it's like COTE, I don't know, Côte d'Ivoire, whatever it is. But they're like 50% of the world's exporters, or 55% of the world export capital for chocolate. And their crop has been decimated. And yeah, it's just, you're going to see the price of chocolate is going to kind of run the same gamut as eggs. If you remember when eggs were like $5-6 a dozen a few months ago.
Yeah, I mean,
that.
Well, I mean, and they stayed that way for a little while. They came down again, but they're still higher than they were.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with the bird flu, and obviously they're killing a bunch of chickens. But this one itself, I think it's going to be long term because they lost an entire crop, and when you lose the crop, you got to wait for it to be, to regrow. And I don't know how often the cocoa trees actually reproduce their beans, but yeah, your cocoa is going to be up there for quite a while, I think.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that, and thankfully, that's not something I buy a whole heck of a lot of, but I know a lot of people out there do.
Right.
All right. Well,
yeah, absolutely, and I can guarantee you that it's going to. It's people who don't understand or don't pay attention to like the business side of the world. They're going to just go, oh, look, Biden's doing this again. Biden's doing that again. And this is Biden's fault that my Hershey chocolate bar is $5. That's all Biden's fault. And it's all, it's crazy. When I saw that thing explode, the price explode, I was like, yep, here we go. This is going to become political when it's actually, a lot of people are blaming it on climate change or El Nino. Depends on how you want to look at it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. So keep an eye on if you like cocoa beans or you like your chocolate, buy it now and freeze it because it's going to be worth a lot of money in probably August.
Make sure that next Monday, when you go into all the stores and get all the Easter candy, 75% off. Save some of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, throw it in your freezer and save it for next year.
Which I always suspected that my mother probably did with some of those chocolate bunnies because they seemed like they'd been around for a few years. All right, thanks for the call.
Yeah, as long as it's not peach, don't eat that.
All right, you have a good day.
All right, take care.
Remember that Peter Cottontail rabbit that came with the storybook? I had one of those in my basket every year. All right, I should take a break. Let me see what's that break and that break. Yeah, caller, hang on. Let me take a really quick break, and I'll be back in less than 3 minutes.
Dread.
Shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime, sound of the river, you stop and you hold everything. A band is blowing Dixie, double fall time. You feel alright when you hear the music ring. Step inside, but you don't see too many faces.
And welcome back in. I guess that caller didn't want to hang up, but that's all right. We have room for you, 508-996-0500. And, as we're talking about the weather, I was talking about the weather that was coming in. People say, well, in the rainy season, like we're in right now, if I go solar, I'm not really going to save as much, right? Because it's not as much sunlight. Nope, it's not how it works at all. In fact, as I said just the other day, I have a friend who posted, even with all the rain and cloudy weather we've been having, her electric bill for her family, which she has a teenager. So, when you have a teenager, they leave everything on. But her electric bill was $28, I think it was, for the month. So questions like that are questions that you may have about going solar. Like, Do I have to have a lot of sunny days? What happens when there isn't a sunny day? Is it okay that I have trees around my home? All these questions. And then you get into all of the gimmicks that you see around, like getting paid to go solar or getting a new free roof if you go solar, all of those things. So you're probably left with more questions than answers about solar. But the folks at Isaacson Solar will give you straightforward, honest answers to all of those questions. So if you are wondering if your home is a good fit for solar, if you are wondering whether it's better to lease or to buy them, if you are wondering if solar is even right for you, then reach out to Isaacson Solar by going to isaacsonsolar.com. They will sit down with you and they will give you simple, direct, honest answers to all of your questions. Again, isaacsonsolar.com. Go there today and see if solar is right for you.
As soon as you are able, woman, I am willing to make the break that we are on the brink of. My cup is on the table, my love is feeling, waiting here for you to take and drink of.
You know, you could be rolling with the changes if you end up being the next big Powerball winner. So nobody won on the grand prize was not claimed on Saturday, the $750 million grand prize, which means we're looking at about $800 million for tonight's. And then you know how it goes, right? Nobody's going to win tonight. And then we'll be looking at $1 billion by the time this thing gets selected. So you might want to go out and get your tickets to that. But if you'd like a chance to win some money a little bit more easily, and for doing something that you're already doing, right? You're already listening to WBSM every day. How would you like to win cash with WBSM? Well, I can't say anything yet. About a minute away from being able to actually legally be able to tell you about it. But all I can say is just after 7 a.m., take a look at WBSM.com and we'll have some information about how you can win cash. And then we can talk more about it on the other side. But that's my little tease for it. Again, it's going up at WBSM.com in the next minute or so. And on the WBSM app. So if you remember the last time we gave money away on